Good morning, stock traders, and welcome back to Stock Traders Talk Radio. I'm your host, Stock Sumo. Thanks for joining us on a wonderful Wednesday. Today's November 14th, 2012. Joining us on today's program is Haas. Good morning, Haas.
Good morning, Mr. Stock Sumo. How you doing, man?
I'm doing really good. Super excited for today's show. It's been a little while since we've had a CEO on.
Yeah, for sure. Love our interviews here at STT Radio.
Definitely one of our more favorite things to do on the show. So, without any further ado, I'm just going to let you take it away, boss.
You're confusing me here, man. Not sure what to do. Anyways, thanks for tuning in once again to STT Radio here. We have a few special guests on the show this morning from a company, Building Turbines Incorporated. Stock ticker BLDW, excuse me. Here we are with Mr. John Graham, the president of Building Turbines Incorporated, Bill O'Rourke, the sales manager of Building Turbines Incorporated, and also Mr. Paul Getty, an international businessman and newly nominated to the Strategic Advisory Board of Building Turbines Incorporated. And you can go check out that press release and some of the details of Paul Getty. They put that out yesterday. In this interview, we're going to cover the expansion of the company since we had our last interview with them. Now that they have completed the key research and development phase of some of their projects that they have going on. And also we want to detail Mr. Getty and what he brings to the table for Building Turbines Incorporated. Before we get started here, I want each of our interviewees to tell a little bit about themselves if they could. So first, why don't we bring on John Graham, the president of Building Turbines Incorporated here, and just give a brief history of yourself and how this company came to be.
Good morning, Hoss.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing great this morning. Awesome. I've been primarily in commercial real estate, and I've started building wind turbines about 5 years ago. We've got 2 patents that have already been issued, and we've got 1 more pending, and we plan on filing several others. We've got turbines installed in Austin, Texas, and then in Corpus Christi on a major retail chain there. And we've got a contract in their legal department for 4 more cities. We're also working with a group in Houston to deploy more turbines.
Oh, fantastic. Cool. Also on the show with us this morning, we have a Bill O'Rourke. Bill, why don't you just briefly introduce yourself and what you bring to the company?
Well, good morning, everyone. I've been in the renewable energy business for the last couple of years and represented a couple of different firms in terms of wind energy. And after looking at so many different devices and so on and so forth, discovered that BLDW has probably one of the better turbines in the marketplace today based upon the fact that it produces an incredible amount of energy for the type of wind speeds that are needed. So with that idea in mind, I've been working with John for probably almost the last year to develop the product and to bring the product to marketplace. And very excited about moving forward.
And you come from the EcoWind side of things. I know Building Turbines and EcoWind finalized their joint venture. I know you guys were thinking about a merger there for a little while, but it ended up being a joint venture agreement, and that's can be found in the press just a couple of months back. Is that correct?
That's correct. We were engaged, and now we're married.
Okay, perfect. Sounds great. And lastly, let's bring on Mr. Paul Getty, newly nominated to the Strategic Advisory Board for BLDW as of yesterday, as far as the public knowledge goes. Paul, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you bring to the company?
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that opportunity, and I'm also very excited to be involved in this endeavor. I'm an entrepreneur by trade and am involved in a lot of different projects, but something that's very special to my heart is renewable energy. I think that it's very, very critical that we develop other opportunities other than fossil fuels. And it's nice to be involved with a venture where not only are you doing something that benefits mankind, but it's also a phenomenal business opportunity for us. And I think we're going to have a tremendous opportunity for our shareholders. I am developing a number of different verticals that we think this product will work specifically well in, and that I have numerous contacts, and so I plan on bringing that part of the business plan, hopefully adding to that part of the business plan, and helping to bring us opportunities in a much quicker fashion because of relationships that I have with people that up to date have been really excited about this opportunity. So I'm excited. We're excited here at the company, and we look forward to being a very successful venture moving forward on all fronts.
Yeah, that sounds great. I was reading over your background and bio a little bit yesterday, and I was really impressed because a good product is nothing without a good network to distribute the product through. So what you bring
absolutely
is perfect for this company here. I'm not sure who wants to take this question, but now that we've introduced everyone, let's just move into a little bit about the turbines themselves and some basic details. I know we covered that in a lot of detail on our last interview. But just to give the audience a general idea of what we're talking about here, and then we can talk about some of the upcoming projects that were already on the table and that Mr. Getty can bring to the table as well. So why don't we just talk about the company and what these turbines are, where they are now, and let's take that question.
The wind turbines are designed to go in an urban environment, so they sit on top of the rooftop. So when the wind hits the vertical face of the building, it comes up over the edge, it creates a vortex, and our axle's in the middle of that vortex. So that's what we have patented, is the relationship of the turbine to the parapet wall, where that wind creates the vortex. And the blades are made out of a sail-type material, UV protected. So the blades are very inexpensive and have a large windswept area. The turbines are approximately 25 foot long and 10 foot wide.
Okay, and I understand these turbines are being researched at the University of Texas.
Yes, we've actually had 5 University of Texas projects, and we're currently working with Texas State University in San Marcos. But we've been working with the University of Texas for almost a year and a half, I guess, out of Austin, working with graduate students. Each class has 5 graduate students. So they've made several improvements that we're now implementing to our turbines.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious about exactly what they were researching, but that's just to improve the product and make it more efficient?
Exactly.
Okay, awesome.
Cost engineering them and making them a little more efficient for energy production.
Okay,
and we complement where we don't compete with solar, so you'd have wind turbines on the edge of the building and then solar on the balance of the roof, and then after the inverters, you can tie into the grid together.
Okay, yeah, I remember on the last interview we talked a little bit about the combination of, solar and wind technology. They're not competing, and that you guys were actually interested in, teaming up with some potential solar companies to, co-market the product a little bit.
Exactly. Yes, lots of synergy there. And
okay.
we should be able to have all the tax incentives that solar receives.
Oh, great. Why don't you talk about the strategic direction of the company briefly here? You obviously have the University of Texas research studies going on. You mentioned that you had the wind turbines on top of some major retail department stores. I think most people, most of our listeners know who that is. I know you probably can't mention the name, but I think I can. Kohl's. I'm pretty sure there's YouTube videos out there and articles out there that mention that. Most people are probably familiar with Kohl's. You don't have to mention it, but I will. And that's in Corpus Christi, Texas. And that's a huge avenue and a huge market for you guys to tap into. If those products are successful in a few Kohl's stores, what's to say that they can't be on the top of Kohl's stores throughout the entire U.S. and other retail stores once other retail stores see that Kohl's has them. So why don't you just talk a little bit about your strategic direction briefly?
Well, let me, this is Bill O'Rourke. Let me talk about a couple of different things. Number one is what Mr. Getty has brought to the table. Being sales manager and being after this for the last couple of years, the biggest problem is trying to get through to the gatekeepers so that you can get to the representatives and to the real people that actually purchase these items. Since Mr. Getty's been working with us, we have been able to actually talk to CEOs and CFOs of some major companies here in the United States and internationally. Right now, we have a couple of LOIs that have been signed. Of course, we cannot announce who they are at this point, but we're expecting in the next week to 10 days to be able to talk about those specific companies and actual sales. One of them is a large developer here in the city of Houston, and the other is a national retailer with stores throughout the United States. And then several other doors have been opened by Mr. Getty. So we're really excited about that. And these messages that we have will be forthcoming, and we'll be making those announcements very soon. So in terms of where we're going and what direction we're going, is we just are really excited about all the possibilities and all the doors that have been opened for us.
Okay, just to confirm that, you have two letter of intents, one with a large developer and the other with a large retail chain that you're looking to announce within the next week to 2 weeks?
We have an LOI with a large developer here in the city of Houston already signed, and we are in the process of having one signed with a national retailer. And those will be announced. The one will be announced within the next week to 10 days, and then the other. And that's in addition to the large department store that we're already on, and we have 3 more potential stores for them in works right now.
Oh, great. Yeah, I was going to ask if it was in addition to the department stores in Corpus Christi. So sounds like the word's getting out there. And you said Mr. Getty brought those to the table?
Mr. Getty did, in fact, bring those to the table. Again, I'm so thrilled to have Paul aboard because, like you said, he's opened up doors that would have taken me months or even a year to open up. So it's a great advantage for us.
Wow. Not here more than, a month or 2 months, and he's already bringing big deals to the table. It sounds like a very promising relationship going into the future. And it'd be interesting to see what else he brings in the near future.
It makes it a lot easier when you have a great product.
Do you want to comment on some other potential, projects you might have coming up or connections you're looking to make in the near future here, Mr. Getty?
Well, the thing I like about this product is that once you identify a potential customer, that typically works for that same type of customer on an international basis. Yeah. So once we're willing to prove that it works on maybe one of their buildings, then it's probably a pretty good chance that it's going to work on, all or most of their buildings. And so when you have a product that, one, is sending out the right message to the public, and everybody wants to send out that message, and two, has some great tax advantages to make it a little easier for that individual to make that decision, and three, actually works, then you've got a great combination that is very scalable, and that's really what I'm focusing on, is trying to bring together opportunities that are scalable, and we're going to be very successful at that.
Yeah, I think on the last interview we had with BLDW, John and Bill, I think they said the product eventually almost ends up paying for itself after all the tax incentives and a few years of actually using the product, the upfront costs are pretty much wiped out. And I think it's just
there are some very, very, very strong tax incentives. So we just need to keep those going.
Yeah, and commenting on whoop, go ahead.
When you really take a look at the tax incentives, and not only from the federal government, but most of the 50 states have now joined for renewable energy, we are finding that it does depend on how much electricity is being used, but we're figuring that our ROI is anywhere from 24 to 36 months almost, any product that we put in. The federal government gives us a 30% tax incentive for major corporations, and they also give you an accelerated depreciation, along with the ability for the units to produce a certain amount of electricity. So when we do a feasibility study, our ROIs are showing a very, very easy and good return on the investment. And again, we have to talk about renewable energy in a different form. Right now, we know that the grid in the United States needs to be rebuilt. We know that, we depend on oil and gas, and of course we'll never replace that. We don't plan on that. But what we see our product as is a supplement to almost any building that is using a large amount of power. And again, our outlook is that there's no reason not to have it because, again, with the ROI that's available to the corporate entities, it almost makes it a necessity.
Okay. Very, very interesting. Yeah, and just to comment on the bio for Mr. Getty, I saw the international relationships that he had, so that'll bring another large market to the table for sure. Why don't you guys talk about the industry itself, the wind industry? My brother actually has been managing some wind farms in North Dakota for the last several years, so I understand the potential there and how rapidly this market is expanding. But your product, very, very different from the larger turbines that you see driving down the highway of North Dakota or something like that. Why don't you elaborate on the industry for your specific product?
Well, that's a really good point. The wind farms that you're talking about are not distributed generation. They have long transmission lines and they lose a lot of electricity. They lose kV in the transmission. Our turbines are distributed generations, meaning we produce power where it's consumed. Virtually every city in the world has an infrastructure that is antiquated, and you could build nuclear power plants or wind farms outside of the cities, and it still doesn't do you much good because the cities are antiquated where the electric supply lines don't go throughout the city. We produce electricity on top of the building where it's actually consumed. Our turbines are low profile.
Hello? We are having technical difficulties, and we will be right back, folks.
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, we're back. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties here.
Okay.
Trying to get everyone on the show.
Okay.
It's Paul.
Hey, we got you back. Good. Hey, Paul.
Sorry.
Something happened there.
Yeah, I think we someone lost internet or something. Sippy, are we on? Are we live? All right, we're live. Welcome back to STT Radio. We are back with John, Paul.
I'm sorry, we got disconnected there.
That's all right. I think we were talking about the wind industry in general and your product versus the traditional wind turbines that you see driving down the highway or something like that. If you just want to continue with that.
Yes, I'm not sure where it got disconnected.
uh,
I was talking about we're distributed generation.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, do you just want to go over all of it again? Is that okay? Is that too much to ask? All right. Why don't we move on to the actual business plan for Building Turbines Incorporated? Obviously, Mr. Getty bringing several new deals to the table and new relationships for the company. Why don't you just talk about the company on more of a macro level, and then a micro level we can get into some specific projects that you guys have coming up in addition to the ones that we've talked about so far.
Well, additional projects for us is again other major retailers and other major developers. We again have several inroads and several up and coming appointments. What we're looking for is again to make these announcements before the first of the year, and then after the first of the year, we are going to be talking to some international groups and approaching them on building these turbines. Some we're working as far as New Jersey. We're working in Wisconsin. We're working all the way out into California. So our up and coming schedule at this point is we're actually going to be in need of more people to put on staff, is what we're hoping.
Okay. Yeah, I think just the projects that you guys had on the table before, the cold stores in Corpus Christi, Texas, and I believe a couple others that we talked about on the last interview, the deal with Stone Tech Corporation, which I believe was potentially going to expand pretty dramatically to like 80,000 units or something like that. Is that still in the works?
Well, that's a test, and that like anything else, when we have to have results. Those were units that were going on radio towers, and a couple of those units were installed, and still waiting for some test results. Again, with wind energy, everything has to be proven, and it has to be analyzed and taken a look at to make sure that the power generated is the power that's needed. But above and beyond that, we are also in the throes of adding more to BLDW than just the one wind generator. We're talking about other products so that when we, at the end of the day, what we're going to look like 5 or 6 months from now is not just a wind turbine. We're going to have, like we mentioned, some solar things that'll be added. We're talking about anything that has to do with environmentally saving energy. We're talking about a computer device that does peak shaving, so that when what most people don't realize is that the power companies between 8 and 9 o'clock in the morning have what they call peak consumption. And instead of paying your 10 or 15 cents a kilowatt, you can be paying $14 or $15 a kilowatt. So John is in the R&D end of the development of this peak shaving, which would mean that we would have the BLDW generators generating power on the roof, but they would also be charging batteries. And at a particular time of the day, that those batteries would come into play so that it would cut down in their power usage when these peak shaving occurrences happen. So there are a lot of things moving forward that we're going to bring to the table that's above and beyond just producing electricity on a 24/7 basis. And those are a lot of the exciting things that not only are we excited about developing, but some of our potential clients and customers are very interested in that particular program.
Okay. As far as the solar aspect goes, are you guys pretty knowledgeable in that area yourselves, or do you have some sort of strategic partner that you're working with in the solar industry to develop that?
We have a potential strategic partner coming aboard, and we're in negotiations with them so that we can work out the details. And again, I'm a wind guy, and I believe that the wind is more advantageous, but solar is still a needed product, and especially here in Texas, we get a tremendous amount of sun, but we also get a tremendous amount of wind. And with the BLDW products, most of those products go up on buildings that are 3 stories or 4 stories or taller. Here in the Houston area, our average wind speed is about 12 miles an hour. That's ground speed. But once you get up 30, 40, 50 feet in the air, your wind speed picks up dramatically, and then based upon the fact that we have a vortex going up the side of the building, it even picks up more speed. So we're real happy with the results that we're getting. We're pleased to publish some of those very quickly, and we've worked with the Austin Green Energy Council, and we're just have a lot of things moving forward.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it. Yeah, I really like that combination of wind energy and solar energy. And I believe your product works with just, like even 2 miles an hour worth of wind speed. Is that correct?
It starts at a very slow wind speed and starts generating power pretty quickly. That's correct. But also, some of our initiatives are not just wind, but we're this one particular company that we're working with here in Houston is we're talking about LED lighting in some of the buildings, which reduce the power usage by 40 to 60% on that end of it. And there's just a myriad of things that we're putting together as a renewable energy company that we feel will be advantageous. And at Mr. Getty's direction, these are the things that he feels are necessary for us not to just be so one-sided, that we'll have a broader scope and a bigger footprint in this particular industry.
Oh, very interesting. So you guys are kind of becoming a whole green energy company with a focus on wind energy in your main products. That's a good business strategy.
Absolutely.
Okay. Why don't we we just touched on one potential strategic partner there in the solar industry. Why don't you guys just make some comments on some of your other strategic partners? Austin Green Energy Group, Texas Renewable Energy Association. Obviously, Mr. Paul Getty himself is a strategic partner, but he's probably bringing some other strategic partners to the table.
Well, again, there are other. We're limited to what we can say because we are in negotiations with a couple of the solar companies, and before we make any announcements, we want to make sure that we do have a marriage with them. The Austin Green Energy Group has been instrumental in helping us develop the BLDW product, and certainly with all the credentials and things that are needed. The one thing you have to realize with wind energy, it's not a new technology, but it's a technology that needs to be introduced in a certain way. So our comments on that is anytime that we start with a client, it's probably a 60 to 120 day marriage that we have to have with any company moving forward, because there's a lot of feasibility studies that have to be done and a lot of presentations to the different peoples in the groups. So as we build our associations and as Mr. Getty mentioned, the more units that we put up, the more acceptance that we will have, and the larger the company will grow. So that's our main purpose, is to move forward not only, again, with wind energy, but to bring these affiliates and these other devices into this company, so that when we sit down with as I mentioned, this buildings that we're doing here in Houston, these are not just about wind energy. These are about thermal glass that goes onto the building. It's about LED lighting. It's about water purification. It's about making a building green as can be, And again, one of the biggest factors to make anything green today is renewable energy. And that's our real focus. But these other issues are coming to light now as we speak.
Okay. Yeah. Now we're touching on, some more longer term goals. Why don't we get right into that? Like 1 year goals and 5 year goals. Within the next year, I mean, where do you guys see yourselves in that department as far as expanding into, just beyond green energy and, literally making entire buildings, commercial buildings green, residential buildings green?
Well, that is our focus. We have a couple of our staff that are attending LEED certification now, so that when we approach a building, we will not just be able to talk about our wind energy program, but we will be able to talk about the lighting to be used. We'll be able to talk about insulation glass. We'll be able to talk about roof structures and membrane and how to make any environment cleaner, safer, with a lot less energy. And this, again, is, if you read anything about the environment and where we are and global warming, wind energy is a big answer. And again, with these other things added to our programs, we just are so looking forward to that in this next year. Above and beyond that, 5 years from now, we think will not only be throughout the United States, but we're making inroads into India. We'll be making inroads into Europe. So our long-term goal is to become a renewable energy company, not just a wind company.
Okay. Yeah, you're still a little too vague for me here. Let's get into some numbers and let's throw some numbers into the mix. The last interview we had, I'm not sure who said it, but they said you guys would be up to, potentially millions of dollars in annual revenues by this point, just 60 days after that other interview. I know you guys had some projects in the works. You're in the testing phase on some projects. Can you guys comment on, some potential revenues from some of these deals that you guys have on the table right now?
Well, I can talk about specific companies and what those orders are going to amount to. But as far as projections of where we'll go, let me give you an example. One of the buildings that we're working with, this is just in terms of the turbines, is about a $500,000 order. But that's just for one of the buildings. Now, this particular company has probably 22 or 23 other buildings that they'll move forward once we prove that our units work. Now, they do have our feasibility studies, and they do have what their costs are. But like anything else, these are not easy sales. These are things that, because it's a new industry, that we have to prove up. So you can run the numbers there at a $500,000 a building times 22, and that gives you an idea of what that one order can come to.
Yeah, $12 million area isn't too shabby.
No, and that's just one order. One of the other larger national retailers, and also hopefully a manufacturing facility, could be well beyond that number of locations. It's hard for us to sit and project based upon, and we have had some pushback because, like I mentioned before, these are not easy sales. You have to prove, you have to show them that this does reduce their bottom line. You have to work with their accountants to show them how to get these deductions and so on and so forth. And that's our real focus. And again, I can't speak openly about revenues only because that's not my end of the business. My end of the business is sales, and I can talk about real-time orders, things that I know that are on the horizon. My CEO, I would probably be reluctant for me to say most of that because, like anything else, he's very clear, and he wants written orders with deposits and deliveries. As the sales manager, I'm looking at potential sales. And what I had mentioned to you are the LOI that we already have, which we will announce soon. And then I hope to have the announcement on the second LOI within 30 days from that date.
Okay. Are you guys planning on, giving some potential numbers from some of these deals in those press releases?
I believe that we are. Again, that's a decision that the CEO and the director make those decisions.
Okay. And as far as your retail chain in Corpus Christi, I know you guys have the turbines on top of a couple of retail department stores. How is that deal going? Are you guys planning on expanding that particular department store?
That effort, as Mr. Graham mentioned, that there are 3 more potential stores that they are in the process of. It's in their legal department now, and they're getting ready to issue those purchase orders. Once those 3 additional stores are up, that means there's 4 of them, and there's probably 1,000 locations on just that particular chain in the United States. Now, do we have that ink? No. Do we have the one up? Yes, we do. And do we have the order, which is in legal, for the other 3 stores? Yes, we do.
Okay, and what sort of potential size of those orders are we looking at?
Well, those particular orders are probably somewhere per store is probably in the $50,000 to $60,000 range per store.
Okay.
Or is it that many? Let me refer to Mr. Graham on that.
Okay.
We could install 12 to 14 turbines per store.
Okay.
So $200,000 to $400,000 per store.
300 to 400, 300,
without
300,000.
Without peak shaving.
Okay. Well, that's something to scoff at. That's another, 1 to 2 million in revenues just from a few stores. So very impressive. Okay. Why don't we move into some information regarding the actual stock itself? Why don't we start off with a current share structure?
Okay. We've got 500 million shares authorized. There's approximately 180 million shares outstanding right now. And we've got about 850 shareholders.
Okay. And then your transfer agent?
Our transfer agent is Island Stock Transfer. And I don't think we've said anything about our website, but the best resource for our wind turbines would be BLDturbines.com. And you can see live video feeds of the turbines, and it talks about the share structures, and there's a link to the stock price, etc.
Yeah, you're getting ahead of me a little bit, but that's www.buildingturbines.com. And I actually have that site up in front of me right now. There's some pretty good videos and stuff, details everything pretty well. Why don't we talk a little bit about your balance sheet, different types of assets and liabilities that you guys currently have here?
Okay. Well, we have no debt, and
no debt at all?
No debt at all. No, we've self-funded for several years now, and we have a private placement memorandum where we've been raising funds. But the company has no debt.
Wow, that's almost unheard of in the over-the-counter market. I don't know if Mr. Getty wants to comment on this. I'm sure he brings some strategic financing resources to the table as well.
I think Paul may be off the line right now.
Oh, okay. Do you want to comment on that?
Well, we're currently raising funds for the installations of the retail chains in the office building in Houston right now. We also have several more turbines we're going to install in Austin as well. So we're currently raising funds for that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the reason I ask is because, obviously he brings a lot of new deals to the table, and you guys will be expanding more rapidly than you originally planned to. And I'm assuming he brings some very strategic partners to be able to do that to the table as far as funding and whatnot goes and covering those upfront costs.
I anticipate Mr. Getty's going to help accelerate our progress tremendously.
Okay. So how about other types of assets that you guys have? Where are you guys building these turbines at? Are you building them right on top of the roof, or do you have a manufacturing facility?
We have a manufacturing facility in Austin that's third party, but we're trying to find a strategic partner in Houston that'll actually be a partner with us to build the turbines.
Okay. All right. And just to recap on the potential and actual revenue streams that you guys have. I know you guys probably have some smaller revenue streams going right now, and then if you want to comment on some potential revenue streams in the near future and long-term future, you can.
Well, of course, a lot of our revenue stream when we actually write a physical order, we always have our partner who we're selling the product to. We raise money by taking deposits on orders and then, of course, moving forward. Our revenue stream right now comes from sales, number one. Number two, it comes from investors. And number three is we're in negotiations with a couple of banks to move forward and raise capital that way. But our biggest revenue stream as we see it is sales. We are a firm believer that sales are the key, and based upon the potential that we have in sales alone is enough revenue for us to make the company very, very successful. A lot of people depend on stock and those kind of things to raise money. Our main focus is not just to raise money through the stock. Our main focus is to make sales. And that way we assure value in our product and in our company.
Okay. Who's still on the line with me? I have John and Bill. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think we lost Paul.
Okay, we lost Paul. Well, let's move into some final elevators. Oh, are we trying to call Paul back?
Oh, sorry.
Is this Paul?
Yeah, it's Paul.
All right, we got you back.
Sorry, I lost you.
Welcome back, Paul Getty, back on the line with us. Are actually just wrapping things up here, so I will start with Paul. I know you have another endeavor that you got to get to today, so just wrapping things up a little bit on BLDW and the potential here. Why don't you just give a final, if you had 5 minutes to give an elevator speech to convince someone to invest in this company, why don't you go ahead and give us that speech?
Yeah, I think that everyone understands that moving forward, that energy needs are going to continue to be an issue, even with all the natural gas we have here in the U.S. It's still going to be an issue moving forward. So renewable energy is not something that is going to go away. It is going to continue to be a force that will be reckoned with in the future. And the thing that's so interesting about this is that it's an opportunity not only in the industrialized world, but also in some of the third world countries. I mean, the opportunities that I think we're going to have in India are just going to be huge. And so we've got with the wind energy, we have part of the solution. It's not the total solution. And I think the way we're positioning the company is to be part of a bigger solution, or to put together something that can be the solution using other forms of renewable energy. And I think that's a direction that will suit us best, not only now, but moving forward. Anybody that you talk to is interested in doing something to help the environment. And when I say anybody, I mean the CEOs of these large companies that have large holdings. They are very interested in doing whatever they can, because they understand what the long-term ramifications are. And, we can either be part of that solution on the wind side, or we can help them with a full solution with solar energy and other things that can help them get LEED certified in one degree or another. So, as Bill said, I'm really excited about these opportunities. We're in the proving stage right now with a lot of these operators. But once they see that the product does exactly what we say it's going to do, our opportunities are unlimited. They really are. They are unlimited. And we see a time where when you're driving down the road and you're driving through any kind of an industrialized area, you're going to see our turbines as part of that energy solution on the top of these buildings. And I don't really think that is a far-fetched plan. I don't think we're dreaming. I think we have a real opportunity to make a significant difference. And my job is to help, guide these very hardworking and smart people and help them stay focused and on track. And I think if we do that, we can certainly execute our business plan, and we can do it in a spectacular fashion. I really believe that. So I'm excited about it. We're working hard at it, and there's no reason why we can't be extremely successful in our endeavor.
I think that was one of the the better elevator speeches I've ever heard. That was great. You mentioned India briefly. We didn't really cover that in the interview. Do you want to comment on that at all? It sounds like you guys are already in talks with some potential deals in India.
Yeah, I have some very, very strong connections there that would be synergistic to this endeavor, and it's a little too early to speak about that. But obviously, when you have a electrical blackout for most of your entire country, that there's some needs there that could be filled by wind energy. And so we're pretty excited because, again, we're going to be talking to people at the right level, and we're going to be talking to people that can make a significant difference. And that's a big part of what my job is let's not waste our time talking to the wrong people. Let's get to somebody who can make a difference and make it in a very big way, and that could partner with us in various countries, which is the way I would see us working. Because it's a great business opportunity. Because as I said earlier, it solves a need, and it does it in a way that doesn't pollute the environment.
Wow. Yeah. One big partner with a product like this could really put BLDW over the top. So you're exactly right there.
No question. Absolutely no question. And, all the people we're talking to, they own numerous businesses. They have their own manufacturing facilities, et cetera. So, it could be a turnkey opportunity for us with them.
Yeah. Just to comment on that, I don't know if this is a question for you, John or Bill, but with a product like this, I can imagine, some of the larger companies, some of the larger wind energy companies or other green energy companies approaching you with some buyout offers. Has that happened in the past? I could easily see that happening.
Well, we've had several companies contact us and want to either mimic our product or become a partner with us. At this point, our focus, again, is not partnerships with other companies. Our focus right now is bringing BLDW to the forefront. And some of the companies that we have spoken to, I'm talking about in terms of purchasing, are interested in the product because it does bring so much green to their particular company, so that they're talking to us more on the basis of when we come aboard, can we give them their certification and can we make them look green based upon what we do for them?
Okay. That explains it a little bit. Thank you. Paul, do you have anything else to add before we let the other two make their final comments here?
No, I think I think I've pretty much outlined what my job is and what I see the opportunities are, and I'll say it one more time. I'm really excited about this opportunity, and I'm taking it very seriously. And the discussions that we've had to date have all been extremely positive. So I think as we continue to show people that the product works, then our opportunity just continues to grow. And that's really what our job is right now. You know, we need to prove that what we say actually happens, and that's all we really need to do, because the product's going to sell itself after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once you build that initial credibility, it'll really take off.
Absolutely.
Why don't we move to Bill? Do you want to make some final comments?
Yeah, I'd like to make the final comment. I'm obviously I'm in agreement with Paul, but you mentioned, why would people be interested in investing in this company? From my standpoint, it's all about sales. It's about getting to a manufacturer, getting to a building owner, and getting people that need this kind of product. And if there's any reason to invest in this particular company, it's because we have these inroads. We have a product that works. Again, I've been in the industry for a couple of years, and I've seen a lot of imitations. I've seen a lot of people that say they were going to go to market that never get to market. We're different. We have real units up, real operating units. We are capable of, if we have an order for 100 units, we're capable of fulfilling that. With the announcements that we're going to make in the next several weeks, I think any of the people that are aboard with BLDW will be very excited. And when the additional units come up, it'll be hard to keep up with production from a standpoint of sales. And again, I'm a firm believer that sales, and that's really what needs to happen. And we are in that mode now. It's nice to be out of the R&D mode and into the opportunity to go out to a company and say, here's a product that works. Here's the kind of investment that you need to make. Here's the return on your money.
Oh, absolutely. John, do you have any final comments you want to make?
Well, I'd just like to thank everybody, and it's just an honor to have Paul Getty join our team. Just in the past couple of weeks, he's made so many introductions to building turbines. He's going to really launch us forward quickly. I can't really improve on the speech that he gave. I think it was top notch.
Yeah, it was top notch. It's pretty tough to follow that up. Maybe I should have ended with him. Well, he covered everything, and you guys mentioned earlier in the interview, even just one smaller deal, potentially amounting to about 10 million in revenues. I can only imagine once you guys start getting a little bit more in depth with some of the talks overseas, and also just throughout the rest of the U.S. here, it could be an absolutely massive company in a very short period of time.
Yeah. Our turbines are relatively inexpensive, and all we have to do is have a building that's over the treetop level for them to work.
Great stuff. Well, thanks for joining us this morning. Again, that's Mr. John Graham, the president of Building Turbines, Inc., Bill O'Rourke, the sales manager of Building Turbines, and also Mr. Paul Getty, newly nominated to the Strategic Advisory Board of Building Turbines, Inc. Thanks for joining us this morning, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, we hope we can get you on the show at some point in the near future here again, once you guys start pursuing some of these other deals and whatnot. And we're looking forward to some press releases related to some of those letter of intents you mentioned within the next couple of weeks here.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Stock Sumo, are you still with me, my man?
Way to go, Haas. Another killer interview, bud. Love it.
Technical difficulties there kind of got everyone a little bit flustered, but I think we worked through it all right.
Definitely good recovery there. I like alternative energy, especially wind farming. This is good stuff.
Yeah, I was listening to your old interview on that one. It was actually really good, and I think what Mr. Paul Getty brings to the table is going to be pretty big for this company. I have a feeling he has some major connections that are going to take this company over the top real quick. But anyways, thanks for tuning in this morning to STT Radio. We will have the archived interview available sometime later today. We'll make sure to get that out. And thanks for tuning in. We are out.
Thank you for listening to Stock Traders Talk Radio. All views and topics talked about on Stock Traders Talk Radio is solely for entertainment purposes. We are not professional financial advisors and always recommend you seek the advice of a professional financial advisor. Never invest in any stock featured on our show unless you can afford to lose your entire investment. The information contained on our show is based on sources which we believe to be reliable, but is not guaranteed by us as being accurate, and might not be a complete statement or summary of the available data. Stock Traders Talk Radio advises that the investments in companies profiled are commonly considered to be high risk, and use of the information provided is at the investor's sole risk. Thank you for listening to Stock Traders Talk Radio.